What's going on, YouTube? This is Blake Handshake, and today is a nice day today, but I'm going to do a video inside. So, some of you may know that I teach English in South Korea. I've been there for about 3.5 years, so since March of 2019, 3 years and 5 months. In March of next year, I'm going to leave Korea, but that's another topic for another day. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about the pros of South Korea. I mean, I teach in South Korea, but I'm not going to talk about teaching English in South Korea. I'm going to talk about the pros of just living in Korea in general. And even if you're not interested in living in Korea, this can apply to just being in South Korea. Maybe you're interested in visiting. So whether you're living in South Korea, whether you're planning on living in South Korea, or whether you just want to visit the country, I think this will be very helpful. So I've got some pros today, and the first one I want to talk about is it's got great public transportation. So where I come from in America, I live in Florida. Right now I'm actually there. Obviously there's public transportation in America, but it's much better to have a vehicle. In Korea, you have train systems, and you can choose from one of three options. You've got the KTX train, which is the very, very fast train. You can get from one place to another place really quickly. KTX train, the bullet train, the super fast train, KTX train, very good, but it's also very expensive. So also keep that in mind if you want to live or visit South Korea. Using the KTX train can be pricey. There's also another train called the ITX train. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It's just in the middle, okay? So ITX trains are in between. The speed is not bad, and I personally usually use the ITX train, okay? It's not too expensive. The price is right in the middle, not too bad. And then for those who don't mind being in a train for a long time, or you want to save some money, the Mugunghwa train, Mugunghwa. The Mugunghwa train is very slow, super slow. But if you don't mind being somewhere in the same place for a few hours, okay, and you're trying to save some money, Mugunghwa is not a bad option, okay? When it comes to comfort, I think the KTX train is very comfortable, good seats, but like I said, it's very pricey. ITX is not bad. Mugunghwa trains, everyone's different, but for me personally, it's not the most comfortable, okay? So it's got a great train system. Buses are not bad, okay? Personally, I prefer the bus, okay? So if I'm traveling somewhere that's far away, the bus is the option that I usually like, okay? It might be a little expensive, but it's very comfortable. You could sleep very easily on the bus. Typically when you're on the bus, if you're going for a long trip, many people are asleep. So it's not a bad option. And if you're willing to pay some extra money, you can get the VIP bus where the seats, like a electronic seat chair, you can extend it, stretch your legs. You've got a curtain on the side, so you get privacy. Okay, I'm not trying to go a certain place, but you get what I mean. So it's good. Okay, the bus is not a bad option. In Korea, anywhere you go, any city, especially big city, it usually has a terminal, a bus terminal. So not every city, though, has a train station. Keep that in mind. But almost every city has a bus terminal. Okay? And taxi drivers are everywhere. Okay? I will warn you, though, some taxi drivers don't drive very safe. Okay? So what do I mean by that? Many of them are veering in and out of traffic, in and out of just lanes, and they're not safe. And sometimes they'll run a red light. Obviously they'll stop and look first, but they'll run the red light. So if you're in Seoul or near any big city or in any big city, many taxi drivers don't drive cautiously. So just a polite warning from me. But taxi drivers are typically in most places. Usually not a problem to find them. If you don't have any app like Kakao Taxi, which is pretty much like Uber. Kakao Taxi is like Uber or Lyft. You just call the taxi driver, They find your location, someone will pick you up within probably, if you're lucky, 3 or 4 minutes. Sometimes where I live in a mainly residential area, so almost 99% of the time, it's almost really difficult to find a taxi. So, but in most cases, you're good with taxi drivers. Just want to caution you, some of them are not safe. Okay, and if you're not careful, whether you're a tourist who's not familiar with the area, or whether you're a foreigner who's not really familiar with the area, like let's say you just moved to Korea, some taxi drivers will take the longer route to take advantage of you and make you pay more. So just something to be mindful of. So public transportation is great. You've got great trains, buses, and you've got taxi drivers. My other thing I wanted to talk about is that Korea is very safe. Now, what do I mean by safe? Okay, anywhere has crime. I mean, I'm from America, so I know this. I mean, you gotta be careful in America. So, but in Korea, I will say it one more time. In Korea, it's very safe compared to most places, or shall I say, many places. I remember when I first came to Korea, I saw women walking alone at night, and I was very surprised. I was taken aback by that. But the reality is that whether it's a woman or a man, you can walk alone at night, and even during the day, you see kids walking alone to the bus stop and to school, okay? It's a very safe, it's relatively safe, not much crime. Most of the crime that's committed in Korea is like scams. They're scams or, unfortunately, domestic violence, okay? But in most cases, you're good. You could walk around, you could walk alone at night with headphones on. You could have the music blasting, okay? And you're good. I do want to caution you, though, not every country is perfect when it comes to safety. You still got to be cautious. I mean, I'm a big guy, okay? For Asian standards, I'm a big dude, okay? So I'm good. But if you're a female, be a little cautious because I've heard stories of people getting followed, okay? Especially even with foreigners too. But in most cases, you're safe. You could be in a cafe. Another thing I wanted to talk about is that theft, stealing is 99% of the time, you're A-okay. You could be in a coffee shop, go outside to talk on the phone, smoke a cigarette, be gone for like 5 or 6 minutes, and your phone, your computer will still be there. You could be in a cafe, okay, and go to the bathroom, do a number 1, a number 2 for like 10 minutes. You come back, your computer, your wallet, your phone is still there. Me personally, I take my phone just in case, but you're safe. People don't really steal. You don't have to worry about pickpocketing. You don't have to worry about someone trying to steal your purse or your wallet. You're good. Primarily because in Korea, nearly everywhere you go, even in mountains, there's CCTV cameras everywhere. So that's why it's safe. And it might be also because of cultural stuff like Confucianism, or shall I say, the teachings of Confucius, pardon me. But the CCTV cameras everywhere help a lot. So it's very safe and you're in good hands. I do want to caution you though, I used to have a bike. My bike got stolen, but that's my fault because I guess I was a little too trusting of Koreans and I left my bike unlocked and I came back outside, it was gone. So always lock your bike, but I do want to caution you, the only thing, at least from what I've heard from, things that get stolen are bikes. So be careful about that. I want to talk about good food. Korea also has healthy food, okay? So kimbap is very healthy. It's like rice and seaweed wrapping around like any flavor, like tuna, pork, cheese. Look up kimbap. English spelling is Gimbap, okay? And lots of good food. My favorite food is dak galbi, which is like chicken mixed with vegetables and cheese, and it's all mixed together. I like kamjatang, which is like pig meat with potatoes, with vegetables and a soup. samgyeopsal, which is very popular among foreigners and Koreans. Samgyeopsal is pork belly meat, but personally, I stay away from it. Not because it doesn't taste good, but with some people, certain foods make you go to the bathroom. So I'm a victim of samgyeopsal. I do want to warn you, Korea also has a lot of spicy food. For me personally, I don't really like spicy food that much. I mean, I could do a little bit sometimes, but most of the time I try to stay away from it. But if you love spicy food, Korea is also the place to be. So it's a lot of good food, and a lot of food is prepared fresh. You go to a restaurant, you sit down, the person making the food, they'll make it and serve it to you, okay? So that's a good thing. Obviously, Korea has fast food as well, but a lot of food, especially Korean food, is served fresh, which is also very healthy. I also want to talk about people mind their own business. What do I mean by that? So people don't bother you. If you're having an argument with somebody or you're on the phone arguing with someone, people won't bother you. People aren't going to say, be quiet. Even if you're obnoxious, people don't really approach and say, be quiet. I mean, maybe 1 out of 10 people will, but most people mind their own business. I remember a few years ago, I was in Seoul minding my own business, and this crazy old man was following me and screaming at me for no reason. Probably had mental issues, but the point I'm making is that the people that were walking by didn't really care, just minding their own business, okay? So I guess the point I'm making is that you don't have to worry about people being, approaching you or talking to you. In Korea, most people are always on their cell phones. And if they're not on their cell phones, they're in their own little world. So if you're an introvert, that's a good thing. If you're an extrovert, it might be challenging for you. I'm an extrovert. It honestly took me a while to adjust to the kind of just people mind their own business. Because the country I come from, you could talk to strangers. You could say, how you doing to random strangers, but I digress. So that's a con. People mind their own business. People don't bother you. They never will bother you. Even if you're drunk, acting stupid, you get the point. People won't bother you, okay? And another thing I wanted to talk about is the nature. If you love hiking, if you love walking on trails, if you love biking, Korea is the place for you. I remember when I first went on the bus, the first time I was in Korea, when I exited the airport, took the bus to the city I was going to live in. The first thing I remember before I passed out from jet lag is I looked out the windows and I saw all the mountains and the hills everywhere. And I will never forget that. And even 3.5 years later, I can see how the nature is so beautiful, okay? Very green hills, green plants everywhere, a lot of mountains, a lot of hiking trails, and not many dangerous animals in South Korea. It's not like you have to worry about getting ambushed by a wolf or a bear. I mean, there are bears in the far south in Jirisan, but there's very few of them. They're protected. There are wild boars, but the wild boars typically don't come out in the daytime. They try to avoid people, and if you see one, chances are it's going to just try to avoid you. So you're good with hiking, safety. When I lived in Daejeon, which is a city right in the center of the country, I loved biking. It's a biker's paradise, and almost anywhere you go, Seoul, Busan, or any city, there's a lot of hiking trails. So I think the nature is amazing. And that's why I wanted to talk about what the pros of South Korea. And also keep in mind, the internet connection is really good. You never have to worry about finding Wi-Fi. You never have to worry about connecting to the internet. So Korea is top-notch when it comes to internet and technology. So I hope this video is helpful. My personal pros of living in Korea, and if you're visiting, I hope this video helps. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.